Otherwise, it is looking like speaking in a dark room where you don't know who is there, who is not there. So if you have some work, if you want to go out, break, then only you can switch off. So you should help me cope up with this with this crisis. Otherwise, online tools are very, very powerful. I'm working on Padlet and you will see it is amazing. But not seeing the student physically is having an effect. That is the main issue. Everything else is fine. But not seeing the face of the student and speaking to in a dark room is what is impacting. So we'll try to reduce the gap because first for 10 or 10 plus, bandwidth is not a problem. If there are more, then there would be problems. Okay. So Shivam and Pavitra, please. Please switch on the videos. Pavitra also. Okay. Now you have seen only 50% studied. This actually is the so-called theoretical problem of flipped classroom. Some people study and some people don't study at all. So what do you do? Encourage studying. Okay. So we will do something, but almost every day I will ask a question like this so that you can be reminded that this is the assignment you have. Okay. So once you come to class after doing the homework, we can have a more advanced discussions. We can do writing assignments. We can discuss previous questions. We can finish the later stage of the exam preparation. If you do the earlier stage of exam preparation at home. So that's what I want. So today we are planning sex and gender. Sex and gender. Okay. Sex and gender is the basics of man woman. Who is man, who is woman, and why there are differences, and should there be differences, why differences, and should there be differences, and what to do about them. So this is the beginning of issues related to gender. We don't directly jump into gender inequality, family. We will first discuss the issue of man and woman. Okay, and it may surprise you. To me, in the entire sociology, not from exam point of view, but from understanding point of view, from resolving issues point of view, gender is the most complex topic. I have been teaching many batches. I read a lot. I thought a lot. It is not yet clear what man should do and what woman should do. This basic question remained unresolved for me. It's not at all clear. The more we think about it, the more complex, more tricky the issue is. See, in the case of others, for example, caste issue, you can say lower caste people are ill-treated So it should be stopped and all should be equal. Fine. Classes, it should help the poor and less exploitation. Fine. But between man and woman, what should be the relationship? Can you say that woman should be like man? I don't think that is right proposition. Man shouldn't exploit woman is fine. That is agreeable. But what should woman be and what should man be? To me, this question is not at all resolved. And I see people don't discuss this question at all. They talk about women's problems and mostly they say, see, man is able to do these things and woman is not able to do those things. So this is about what to do, woman empowerment and things like that. But there is no theoretical answer to the question, what is it that woman is expected? What is to be a woman and what is to be a man? And because if we know what is to be a woman and what is to be a man, then we can think in terms of how we should socialize them. Socialization is about creating certain expected roles. So towards what roles we should socialize, to me, is a very, very difficult issue. So people who think they have solutions, I believe they haven't thought about these issues seriously. Okay. So, so what is to be a woman, what is to be a man, is a very difficult issue. Of course, it is easy to say exploitation should end. Domestic violence should end, sexual violence should end. It is easy and they should end. How? That's a different issue. But in an ideal world, what are they supposed to be? Is the thing that is not clear to me. So we are going to have around maybe 9+ classes, 9 to 10. Normally I take around 10 classes when I didn't have the book, but now I have the book, maybe fewer, less. But that question, I'm not sure is going to be resolved, but you can add certain inputs to the resolution of that issue. Okay, that's what I think. So in this context, I came across one amusing video, which is watched by millions of people. So I want you to show that video and I want you to share your reactions. Okay, let me show it to you.
बाद में रोकी जाएगी गाड़ी। बाद में रोकी जाएगी गाड़ी।
So tell me, did you watch the video? Anyway, did you happen to watch it before? You watched?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So tell me, to me, it's a very, very confusing video. So what do you make of that? I am asking, is that a better word?
Sir, it shows equality, I guess.
Girl slaps and boy slaps.
Sorry, sir.
Equal.
Yeah. It shows that for particular cases, our society is biased towards a particular gender in particular cases.
Sir, pardon me, what was your question again on this video?
That is true. It is my responsibility to repeat the question. I agree. But here I am curious, what would be your question after watching the video?
See, for me, it's like this is all happening like the term which you used, socialization or genderization. So it's all happening because of the perpetuation of certain ideologies or certain belief systems in the people.
Can't you be more specific?
Sir, sir, a boy, touching a girl in a bus is obviously taken as, the boy is trying to exploit or, do something wrong to the girl, and no questions further asked, because that is how we see the society. And when it comes to the boy's reaction, that would be surprising to the people around, because that's not expected from a boy. In this particular case.
Why is it so?
Because
Or you think boys should be like that? It was not expected from boy, that is true. But how should boys be?
Sir, in certain cases,
My
our
question is, won't it be a better world where boy feels It is so nice that you touched my cheek. That's how heroes in movies react. Your hand touched me and I am honored. Isn't it? Or that you are angry itself, I am so happy because that means you recognized me.
It's not the case here, no, sir. The boy didn't follow that girl. The boy
Right?
happened to be a
Did
co-passenger
not
in the
follow,
bus.
but she happens to be a girl. Why should it offend him so much? And even if it offends, why should he like that? And I mean, why? I mean, I'm just asking.
So it is like a
That
societal
is,
bias.
should they be equal? I mean, society is surprised. There is no doubt. That's why it got many views. Society is surprised. But what do we expect? So basically, do we want boy to be like girl and girl to be like boy? I mean, do we want equal and same or different? First of all, is equality same thing as difference? That is to say, are girls and boys actually different and they should be different? Or is it that they should not be different?
There are biologically men and women, boys and girls are different, and they should be equal in the society.
Okay. So you are saying, I mean, one proposal is that they are different. They are different. That is one.
Yeah.
And they should be equal. They should be equal. So
Treated
difference
equal.
is not treated with equated with inequality.
Yes.
So
Yes,
difference,
sir.
they are different, but they should be equal.
Yeah.
That is, difference should not constitute ground for domination and discrimination.
Or hierarchy. Yeah.
There should be difference, and difference should not be the basis for domination and discrimination. Okay. So it is not that they are same and they should be same. It need not be and it can't be. There should be differences. There can be differences. But difference is not the same thing as hierarchy and inequality. So, um, so that is one. So if we assume that they should be different, though equal, the next question is how? How should they be different? It is one thing to say they should be different and they can be different. It is quite another thing to say in what sense they should be different and how can there be a difference without inequalities. For example, in army, should there be 50% reservation for women? If they have to be equal, why can't there be 50% representation?
Because of the perpetuation of the inequality existed so far.
No, we are proposing should.
But sir, when we propose, don't we consider don't we take the background into consideration or the past into consideration?
That's fine. So should there be? We are asking.
Yes, sir, because to
Or we
give them,
think no. Differences mean there should not be 50% in army. Differences should mean. So even after agreeing that there should be differences and differences should be maintained, it may not be clear in what sense differences can be maintained without the differences leading to inequalities.
But you know, a boy and a girl is different, and you know, when we see till about 11 years or 12 years,
Now, what is your answer to army question? Because even if you are theoretically clear, it is difficult to be clear at a practical level. Or what is the theory we need that can answer these questions? I have not found answers to these questions at all. But we can be theoretically clear that there are differences and there can be differences and socialization can be different, but we should ensure that these differences don't lead to hierarchy between genders, should not lead to discrimination. But how differences can be maintained in a way that it won't lead to discrimination and domination is an issue. Is my point clear? Okay. Now, since half of you haven't gone through the lesson, I'll just briefly explain these things. Sex and gender. Sex is about biology. Body differences refer to sex differences, whereas gender is about role, expectations. How a girl is supposed to be behaviorally is gender. So gender is a social concept, whereas a sex is a biological concept. So body differences are sex differences. Socialization, cultural differences are gender differences. So sex is treated separately from gender. Gender is a social concept and sex is a biological or physical concept. Okay. Now, people are socialized differently. That's called gender socialization. Gender socialization. Gender socialization refers to socialization along gender lines. Okay. This is the way to be a boy. This is the way to be a girl. That is gender socialization. This gender socialization takes place to create particular gender roles. Gender role. Mother is different from father. Brother, different from sister. Okay. Uncle, different from auntie. So, and we have a role. What is meant by a role? Role, role refers to expected behavior. Expected behavior. Role is related to another concept called status. Status of husband is expected to behave in a particular way. That is his role. So status here is not referred to, not in reference to higher and lower. Mother as a mother status expected to behave in a particular way. Her role as a mother. Wife status, wife role. So like that. Status is position and role is expected behavior. So gender roles are expected behavior in particular roles. And based on that, gender socialization takes place. Okay. So what kind of roles we have influence what kind of socialization it leads to. Okay. Now tell me more
So
specifically, please, around.
yeah, yeah. So what is socialization?
What is socialization? Socialization is about um, inculcating certain attitudes and values in children. For example, the way you behave, the way you think, that's called socialization. Inculcation of values and attitudes through reward and punishment system is socialization. Okay, so a girl is socialized in a particular way, a boy is socialized in a different way. Girl socialization is different from boy socialization. Okay, can you tell me certain instances of child recognizing, child knowing that yes, I am a girl and I should behave differently. I am a boy, I should behave differently. Definitely, you may not remember your first instance of knowing as a girl and knowing as a boy, but as an adult, you may have seen in small children their consciousness as boys and as girls. Can you tell me how that consciousness is different and how is it produced and by what age they come to think that they are boys and girls and how do they come to think? You can take time. And what are the various tools employed where thinks that she is a girl and boy thinks she is a boy, he is a boy? Think of certain instances.
The tools can be the toys. The tools can be
Toys.
toys which with which they play.
Toys
Tools
is
can,
one example.
yeah,
Okay.
tools can be even
What
the
kind of
color.
toys boys are given?
So generally, boys are given the guns. The boys are also, given the cars and then, cars and then trains and all that. And generally, the girls are given the toys of kitchen
Okay.
tools
But
to
how
play with.
about the children who are not given any toys?
So,
Hmm. Those
uh,
who are not given toys.
so one thing can be
So can you
toys.
tell me more striking thing where a girl is forced to recognize that she is a girl and boy is forced to recognize? I mean, of all the tools parents and society employ, all
Dressing,
the, huh?
Yeah, yeah,
dressing,
Dressing,
the
I don't
way we dress.
understand.
correct.
Dressing is the most important difference. And do you see at an early stage there are you won't make out whether it's a boy or a girl.
Correct.
Okay, it is only from dress one can see, one can know whether it is a boy or a girl. So why are they dressed differently? Why should they be dressing differently? So that they will think they are separate. All girls think that they are different from boys. And so that maybe girls may emulate women, boys may emulate men, boy, his father, girl, his mother, girl, his sister, boy, his brother, so that they will be subjected to different socialization processes. Bathrooms different. Okay, dress pattern is different. So that their grouping becomes different, their role models become different, friends different. So at a very early stage, gender differences are very predominant. So a girl will say, a girl will be told, this is not the way to be a good girl. So a girl wants to be a good girl and a boy wants to be a good boy and not a good girl. Okay. And if anybody wants to experiment differently, it will create a lot of confusion. For example, parents who do not have boys give boys dress to a girl for many years. the girl will be confused about socialization because of cross-dressing. So it can create confusion. So there are certain cases also. So a gender is bringing about the clarity about the sex, about the expectations. So many things. In fact, it really doesn't matter when they are children to which bathroom they go, but then they should learn that they are two different, and that is how gender socialization takes place. Okay, which means the society is targeting that this girl in the end will be a mother, this boy in the end is going to be a father. So how do you create differences? How do we start creating differences from now onwards? This is what gender socialization is. Because socialization takes place in terms of certain expected roles. Okay. And this also means it is about identity creation. This is also identity. Male is an identity. Female is an identity. Okay. Identity is the word used in the context of gender. We feel we are males or females. Okay. So that identity is constructed over a period of time through particular process, particularly being a good girl and bad girl, good boy and bad boy. Okay. And that goes even to an adult woman. Okay. Good girls preparing for civil service exam should come before 9 p.m. Okay. If they are good boys, there is no 9 p.m. restriction. So good girl means this, good boy means this. Okay. So this is about identity. So identity, role, goodness, badness, reward and punishment system. This is how society produces status and roles. And society consists of status and roles. And all this learning process is what is called culture. All this is culture. Culture is what is learned. Gender role is culture. Hair color is not culture, but hairstyle is culture. The dress is culture, but skin color is not culture. But of course, how much makeup we make, how much importance we give to skin color is culture. So culture is that learned component. So society consists of certain positions, husband, wife, uncle, aunt, grandfather, grandmother. I'm talking in the context of family, status and roles. And then the socialization takes place in such a way, people grow up to fulfill those expected roles. People grow up to fulfill those expected roles. So that is how society and culture interact. Is it clear? So that is about sex, gender, gender roles, socialization. Now,
Sir,
uh,
is status and identity same?
if the
Is status and identity the same thing?
status is a more specific word. Uncle is a status, not an identity. Male is an identity. So fewer identities are there, more statuses are there. For example, you are a brother, you are a son, husband, friend. These are all statuses. But male is an identity, caste is an identity, like that. Identities are few, status are multiple.
Okay.
Okay. So from each status, a role is expected. Next, another concept, sexual dimorphism. Sexual dimorphism refers to biological differences between sexes. Okay. It is found in certain species there are more pronounced differences compared to other species. Among humans, sexual dimorphism is high. Man is markedly different from woman, whereas in some species, the difference is much less. Okay. So why there are differences? For example, height. Who grows taller? Man. And woman only short. Woman only tall. So let us look at this particular aspect of man-woman differences. Tell me, these height differences, is it due to biology or due to culture or both?
Both, sir.
Hmm?
Both.
Both may be a factor, but point is biology also plays a very important role. So on the whole, even if you do a lot of exercise and push women, on the whole, the height will be less on average to men, on average with men. Not that every woman is shorter than every man. So these averages or differences operate on these differences operate on averages, not every man and every woman. So man taller and woman shorter. Why is it so?
Sir, do environment also play
What?
a role in this?
It is no. One major difference is that what the textbook says is that man-woman differences, amazingly, it seems that it is because, if you see in your schooling period, till some class, maybe till 8th class or 9th class, girls may be taller than boys till 9th class. And then after that, girls become mature and they don't grow much after, whereas boys continue to grow. So by graduation time, you notice boys are taller than girls. But at some stage in the high school, girls are taller. So what happens is that girls grow till some stage and after that they stop. Whereas boys continue to grow for longer time. Why is it so? Social scientists explain that early cessation of growth takes place among women because food and nutrition are used for reproductive purpose. Whereas in the case of man, nutrition is used for growth. So woman requires this vertical need, horizontal need, and man vertical. Reproductive success, reproduction need of woman, and many differences between man and woman can be explained, it is found, in terms of one difference. That is, what does woman require from the reproduction point of view? Because ultimately, what is the difference between man and woman? Reproduction. Reproduction is the difference that cannot be obliterated, no matter culture, how much evolution change in the culture. So everything is about reproduction. And here in the case of woman, early cessation because child requires. Okay. So reproductive success. And take, for example, another feature like fat, fat to muscle. Who will have more fat to muscle between man and woman?
Women will have more
Woman
fat.
will have more fat to muscle. Do you know why? Fat is nothing but food stored, and that storing is important for reproductive success. And in the usual man, for most of the time, was living in scarcity, and under scarce conditions, if woman is lean and not having enough fat in her, not in a position to store food as a fat, then she may not be reproductively successful. She may die, or she may give birth to deformed or malnourished children. And when she is giving like that, it means her genes will be less represented in the next generation. And you know, that is what is called natural selection. Natural selection means that what kind of a woman she should be, so that in next generation, her genes will be, more of her genes will be represented. So if she has certain advantage, more of her genes will be represented. If she doesn't have an advantage, her genes will be wiped out. So very lean woman who can't have fat, she is less likely to get extinct. A fatty woman, more likely. In the conditions when it was scarce. But now you know food is abundant, so lean woman is becoming fashion. Zero size is becoming fashion, like that. So which means that fashions will change, but the fashion and beauty itself is related to reproductive success. So fat leads to higher reproductive success, and that is why women have more fat, natural selection, and fatty is regarded as beautiful, that is culture. And now fat is not regarded so beautiful because women don't need to store food, but they need to be in a position to store food, so that biological part ability continues. So what I want to say is that I will summarize that man-woman differences are primarily guided by the fact that what makes a woman reproductively successful. So reproductive success is the criteria for sexual dimorphism. Okay. Even coming to more specific things like wider pelvis, woman needs to have a wider pelvis, because if the pelvis size is less, she may not give birth, she may die. So wider pelvis. Like that, differences can be attributed to reproductive success. So that is how nature devised man and woman differently, because women have to be reproductively successful, whereas man does not have that constraint at all. I'll wait. If you have some questions, then we'll take. Tell me, is this point clear to you? Are you clear about natural selection point? Is it clear? Is it clear? Yes or no? Natural selection means there will be variation. Some variation will have an advantage, and that advantageous variation will be represented more in the next generation. So fatty women at one time had an advantage, and so they will have their genes represented in the next generation. So that's how giraffe length kept on growing. Why? Longer neck giraffes had more food, had food available. So they could only leave their genes in the next generation because only they could have offspring. So natural selection means there is a diversity. So this is how it operates. Number one, there is a diversity. And number two, certain diversity is advantageous. And third, those with advantageous diversity will live more in the next generation. So by the next generation, species will be changed. Okay. So long ago, even before evolution of Homo sapiens, maybe man-woman differences were not much. Then differences evolved over a period of time. And so dimorphism was very clear. So this is how evolution takes place over many generations. So sexual dimorphism is a result of need for woman to be reproductively successful. And need for woman means need for the entire species, because if women are not reproductively successful, there cannot be any species at all. So this is how evolution took place. Is my point clear?
Sir,
Now
could
tell
you
me, you have
answer
something to
just a
ask?
question? Yeah. So could you please explain the second point? I mean, certain diversity are advantages. Does that mean
giraffe longer neck? Longer neck has an advantage compared to shorter neck because suppose leaves went up. Advantageous variation means longer neck. So this longer neck would have leaves. So when it had leaves, it would be able to give food to the offspring. First of all, it would survive and it would give. And because of which longer neck will be inherited by more number in the next generation. That is what is meant by advantageous variation. Is that clear? Which means there is a diversity, which means there is a variation, and advantageous variation will be passed on and changing the species in that way. Is the explanation clear?
Yes, sir. Sir, but could they lose this advantageous position also in future?
Could they use this?
Could they lose this advantageous position also? I mean,
I'm not talking about this. For example, giraffe case. Suppose food was not above, but food was on the ground. Then some other giraffes would have an advantage. Some other life forms would have advantage. So when environment changes, things that are advantageous today will not be advantageous tomorrow. So it changes. Okay. I think the people women who have easy way of accumulating fat may have a disadvantage now because fashions are changing. So it is like that. So what is advantageous according to certain circumstances may not be an advantage in different circumstances. So things change. So natural selection operates on changing environment. When environment changes, what is an advantage changes. And when what is an advantage changes, reproductive success changes. Okay. Is it clear?
yes, sir.
Now, I want to ask you one question. Now that you understood sexual dimorphism and natural selection, then I want to ask you one question, which I think is more serious question. Tell me, between man and woman do you think are more caring and loving?
No, not necessarily, sir.
Two pretty controversial. Are women more caring? That is one. And another thing is difference between sex and love. It is usually assumed man is more interested in sex and not love. Woman is more interested in love and not sex. Man pretends all love, but essentially to get sex. And woman willing to give sex, but essentially to get love. It is not that man doesn't want love and woman doesn't want sex. We are only discussing in terms of differences statistically. We are not saying that all women are taller than all men are taller than all women. It's not in that sense. So this is a symbol of man. This is a symbol of woman. So man wants sex and woman wants love. This is one difference. And woman caring and man not so. Are these prejudices? Are they real? Or these are not prejudices, but they came because of socialization? This is another answer. That is to say, there are indeed differences, but these differences came due to socialization. That is one answer. Another answer is that there are no differences. Another answer is that biologically there are no differences, but came only through socialization. Whatever. But these are very controversial. So those who maintain differences, they say man came from Mars and woman came from Venus. So Man from Mars, Woman from Venus is the title of a book. So they say this gender conflict, boyfriend, girlfriend conflict, husband, wife conflict, it is because they don't understand from what they came. Both mistakenly think they came from Earth. That's not true. They came from different planets, and because they don't understand their origins, they keep quarreling. That is the argument. So tell me about this caring, sex love. We can look at it later.
So it is,
Hmm?
I think it is because of the socialization or perpetuation.
Purposeful socialization. Okay, socialization is purposeful. Fine.
No,
So
no, the word I used is perpetuation or socialization per se.
okay, perpetuation, socialization.
Yeah.
But you are saying that inherently both are equal.
Yes, sir.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other answer? Actually, I want you. Okay, you can proceed. I mean, I want you to observe whether the differences itself are the product of gender. I mean, the differences in opinions. Deepika, what is your answer? So maybe let woman answer first. Anyway, thanks a lot for opening the videos. I'm feeling much better today. I was addressing black holes.
Because a woman is the one who
Hmm?
the child. Woman is the one who is the child bearer. Maybe it is some chemical hormone thing due to which she is more connected to the child, and biologically also she has to bear the child. So even in the animal kingdom, it is the female uh, who takes care of the child, who is more caring. So
What
I
is
think
your answer, Shravanti? What is your answer to Deepika's answer? I'm very happy with this kind of interaction online because in the actual class, this is not possible. In actual class, one person speaks, but others can't follow. That is the main problem. Whereas here, one person is as good as another, as the teacher, because everybody can be heard. So now Shravanti can respond to Deepika's answer. Deepika is saying, of course, another online advantage is that I don't have to see what is the name. I don't have to remember the names. Names are there. So it's very easy. Everything is easy. So where are we? She is saying that the fact that woman has to tend the children, she has to be biologically more caring. Because if she has to be shorter, have wider pelvis, and more fat, why should they be like that? Reproductive success. And can there be reproductive success if woman is not caring?
Sir,
That's the point.
I don't think there is an interlinkage because when it comes to caring, it's societal. It's
I know you are
completely
saying I don't have reason why. I just don't like her reason at all. Is it like that? I don't know why I don't like, but I just don't like her reason.
no, not like that.
No, not like that. Do you know this is a very serious issue? It can be very exclusive issue also. Okay. Pavitra, what is your answer? Unmute yourself. Unmute. I think your audio is not working. Unmute. Pavitra?
yeah, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So I don't know, sir.
You don't know.
Yeah, sir.
But how can you not know? Surely you must be having an opinion. For example, it is a, of course, that I don't know can be a very profound answer. That's possible. But I want you, but I want you to think. See, basically, somebody is proposing that women by nature are more caring. Not that they are socialized into more caring, but by nature they are more caring. Pavitra, are you likely to say if somebody says to you, will you say that I really don't know, or you have an opinion on that matter?
Sir, actually, I want to say by nature the women are very caring. Why?
Oh,
Because the women or girls are very near to the family,
very near to the family.
very near to the family and observing everything what is going on the family.
Uh,
But boys are not like that. They are individually stay away from the family and they are staying in their world.
my God, how can you say I don't know? You gave so many points I should write now. So she is saying, stay at home, please. They are very important. They stay at home. Where should I write? Okay. Stay at home and so observe, and so they become caring. Stay at home, observe family, and so they caring.
Yeah.
Point fine. But the question is, somebody can say, girls are made to stay at home, and that is why they are becoming caring. So it is not natural because asking them to stay at home itself is not natural. I mean, it's socialization. Basically, socialization means what we are doing. Natural means by birth what they are. So your point, if you are staying at home, observing things closely, you are more connected and very sensible. But one can argue, Shravanti is saying that, see, they are made to stay at home. That is why they are forced to become more caring. So it is all socialization. What will you be? What is your answer?
So you asked me.
Pavitra, what is your answer?
So please repeat the
That is
question, sir, again.
basically,
Yeah.
the question is, by birth, are they caring? That is the question.
No,
We are
sir.
not saying
By
that
birth, they
every
are
woman
not.
is more caring than every man. It's not all like that. It is
It
not about
depends
every.
upon from person to person, sir. It
That is
depends
true.
upon from
But we
person to
are
person.
saying on the whole biologically. For example, on the whole, women are shorter.
Yeah.
It's like that. On the whole, women are shorter. Not that every woman is shorter than every
No,
man,
no,
isn't it?
no.
So on the whole, if you take the
It's
top,
true.
for example, on the whole, men's performance in sports is superior. Long jump, high jump, tennis, anything. So that is why they have different matches altogether. So on the whole, is woman more caring?
Whatever maybe the exercises we do for the yes, whatever maybe
Exercise,
you do the exercises,
exercise give
the
push.
height can be restricted by the biological and the genes.
Exactly,
By genes only we will get the
exactly. In
height
the
and the
same
color
way,
and
in
everything.
the same
Yes,
way,
sir.
is there
Yes.
something natural to woman that makes her caring?
Natural means by birth they are not caring, sir.
By birth, they are
By
not
seeing the
caring.
circumstances, not caring. When they are grown up, by seeing the circumstances behind
So
and
you are saying
surrounding
socialization, but
with
then,
themselves.
how do you
Mm,
explain things like lesser height and wider pelvis and more fat? It is not due to socialization. It is by nature. Like that,
yes,
there are, for
that
example, greater
biology.
aerobic capacity to man. Hmm?
Actually, pelvis and everything is related to physical body.
Exactly. So she is
Yes.
saying, just that is the argument. All things physical can be linked to natural
Yeah.
selection, but psychological things cannot be linked to natural selection.
Yes, sir.
That's what she is saying. All physical things can be attributed to natural selection, but psychological things. Thank you. But then, when we are under depression, we take only one physical thing like tablet, and we become so excited and happy. That is physical. How is our mood changing?
Because of the hormones we produce by the belief
So,
that the tablet.
which means body and mind are closely related. You cannot say body is selected by natural selection, whereas mind is different because mind is run by hormones and hormones are physical. So you cannot say body is geared towards reproductive success, but mind is not because mind and body are so closely interlinked. These are the issues, and let me tell you the research findings. Research findings show studies are made on the children below 6 years. There is one six cultures project, and there is another project on 4 countries. It shows that girls are more caring than boys at a very early stage. It is because I think part of reproductive success, hormonal differences. Anyway, we know caring is
But sir,
also
do we?
related to
But sir, do
certain
we get hormonal differences at that early age?
hormonal differences related to body only. Certain things come later. But anyway,
No,
that
but
is
till
about.
11 years, we don't really see much of difference between a boy and a girl.
That is true. But how do you explain the studies on cross-cultural studies based on children less than 6 years old? No, if if bodily differences can be traced to um, reproductive success, must be shaping psychological differences also. How can mind be different from body? Body and mind are connected.
Or you mean to say that these attributes had come from the generational? I mean, these are like generational.
Yes, biological differences compounded by socialization differences.
Then this cannot be a fact, no sir. This,
How can it not be a fact? You go through.
because most of the men are also equally or more than emotional, but our society doesn't want them to show that emotions outside, which means they're, so this cannot
That
be
is, you are right. You are right. That is why this is biological plus social. The point is whether it is only social, it is not. That it is social is very clear. When boys are given toys and girls are given cooking utensils, definitely socialization is playing a role.
yeah.
But the academic question is there a biological role? Socialization role is too obvious. Are there biological differences is an issue.
Has that study made on even boys or only
No,
girls?
it's about boys and girls or children. Differences are between the boys and girls only. Because everybody is aggressive and everybody is scared.
Yeah,
It's about
so
differences. Okay. So you please in the examination give studies. I gave in the book. What is a study? When is the study made? And what are the scientists involved? And this book covers so much of studies and facts. And your paper should have facts. Okay, you should have understanding is what you are doing, but your exam should consist of facts, years study like this. So we debate like this, but in actual examination, it says this culture project done this year is what it says. Yeah. So, which means there are biological differences. These biological differences are accentuated through socialization process. So boys are trained in aggression and girls are trained in caring. So when boys are asked to go out and girls are asked to stay, caring differences will come. When boys are asked to fight, girls are asked to do household chores, caring differences will come. In fact, one study shows that if the boys are given household activities and where the boys are given those household activities, because that family don't have girls, the boys are less aggressive. So her point is very much valid. Boys tend to be less aggressive when they are given household tasks, which means socialization is playing a role, but socialization is acting on biological differences. That is the point. Which means this gender socialization is not really arbitrary, not entirely arbitrary. It's like this. So it seems to be like this. After all, between man and woman, it is woman who should reproduce. And this is unalterable fact. Unalterable. Nothing can be done about this. Because there's a basic difference between man and woman. Okay. And now, because this cannot be altered, you have created a gender role that child caring plus to be done by woman and other things done by man. So out of the total activities, woman has to do child caring plus other things and man other things. So it means gender roles itself are defined from a reproduction point of view. Gender roles. And what is socialization? Socialization is to create a better mother and a better person. So man is trained in aggression because he is going to face harsh world, take part in a war, go for hunting and things like that. He's going outside. Whereas woman core activity is about the child care. So woman is given other activities, but the child care is the primary. To this, other things are added. Whereas to man, this is not there. So which means gender roles are different. So what makes a good father is different from a good mother. Good father is defined as somebody who can earn, somebody who can provide, whereas good mother take care of the children. So gender roles are different, and based on the roles, socialization different. So certain things are encouraged in boys, and certain things, some other things are encouraged in girls. All this with an expectation of who becomes a good mother and what is needed to become a good mother and what is needed to become a good father. So which means gender socialization is different because their respective roles are different. Their respective roles are different because family on the whole should have all the services and there is division of work. This is called sexual division of labor. Sexual division of labor. So the sexual division of labor, finally, family should take care of all these things, reproduction, child care, services, defense, protection, all kinds of things. So given these things that family requires, who should do what? So this is how it all started. So you can see nature is operating on the fact of reproductive success and societies are operating on the fact that women have to take care of the children. So because of which there is reinforcement. Okay. But as of now, woman's role is being redefined. So socialization also is being questioned. But the point is, socialization is not an entirely arbitrary exercise. Nature has placed certain things and society has placed. And around that, this socialization took place. Now, any questions? Is the point clear? So nature is operating on the productive success, and society is operating on the fact that family should do all, and how should that be divided? And the thing that cannot be taken away from woman is basic reproductive thing, and some more things added, and that's how gender roles are separated. But gender differences that we see now is not purely biological plus cultural. But it would be wrong to say it is only cultural and biology has no role. And biology will have a role only if it is physical body and not mind and psychology. It's not all like that. Mind and body are linked through a variety of hormones, and mind is different. Mind is guided by thought. Okay. Now, Stravanti, what do you say?
I'm not fully convinced, but I'll go with except for the exam sake.
No, please don't say for the exam. For the exam, you write whatever, but in the class, you don't have to be convinced. Class is not exam. In the class, you can say, no, I don't agree. Okay. But I gave studies, but why doesn't it look sensible that reproductive success must have created a different mind? When it created a different body.
That could
No,
be a minute factor,
when
but
different body is so perfectly agreeable, why should different mind be disagreeable? Do you think that the only body is a product of inheritance and mind is not?
sir, it need not be, sir, because when the cell biologist Dr. Bruce Lipton talks about it's not just our DNA which plays the major role. Like in the previous
We are
so
not
many.
saying just DNA, but does DNA play a role? Nobody is saying culture plus biology
Sir,
argument.
it can be totally proved wrong that we can act totally different to what our DNA is all about. And there are so many examples for it.
No. What we should is different from what is. So that is a question. We can of course act differently. We'll work out how we should act. But whatever the way we want to act should take into consideration what it is. And then say this is what it is, and we should behave differently. That is a different proposal. So is should be differentiated from should, but also should take into consideration of what it is. Is doesn't mean it should. Okay. Rain is natural, but how did we construct houses? So why this Zoom meeting and computers, all this, is it natural? No. So what we do is to overcome the nature. It can be psychological nature or physical nature. So overcome, cooperate, coordinate, whatever. But what is nature is a variable. When we are operating on internet, we are cooperating with the natural laws, but in a way we are defining them. It is both. We use technology, but when we use technology, we don't break laws of physics. It is like that. So we need to know this seems to be the case, but we want to be this, and how should we go about? So any design of the society should take these things into consideration. But it is good. We are disagreeing and debating in the first class. That's good. Because the question of how things should be settled is not clear. Okay. But we're just making differentiation. This seems to be, this is. But is not what it should be. And how can it be different? We need to ask these questions. That is why I said gender topic is very complex. Anyway, the issue of why some women don't like the idea that you are born with more caring. I noticed why some women don't like is that they think it is man's agenda to make women think like.
It need not be the man's agenda, but the societal, and also the fact that it's not, just from the point of view of a woman, but it's also point of view of a man, because man wants to be caring, man wants to show his emotions, but the society doesn't allow him. So it's not just the case of
No,
woman.
that is no. I am talking about why woman may object, not why man objects. If
No, sir,
man
it's
is
coming from a rational mind without being woman or a man.
Hmm, thank you. But let us keep this discussion then. We'll just keep it as a question. Because there are many things she said. I want you to remember, please. I don't know where will you remember these things. We'll open a discussion forum and mention these unresolved issues in every class. She's saying so many things, you know. Woman, okay, more caring is debatable. This is one. And second, if she is more, if she doesn't think this is not true, why is she saying? It is because of rational mind. So her claim is that she is not speaking like a woman. She is speaking out of a rational mind. Okay. Uh, so we need to ask whether she is speaking like a woman and I am teaching like a man. No, I am not claiming. I am rational and you are a woman. So because whether the way we process, the way we think is also a topic in sociology. Are we rational and whether we think in a particular way? And if we hold one opinion in a particular way, what is the reason we feel comfortable or uncomfortable? Okay. So these are the issues. So we will examine them at a later stage. Okay. But that is good. We raised, and now that we have proper technological forums, we will report. We'll keep it as a discussion. Okay. So let me see what else, what I covered. Sex and gender, dimorphism, psychological differences, gender roles. Wow, we covered. Hmm. See, if you, I mean, see, though she came prepared, I mean, there were some surprises, isn't it? So, and if you come prepared, you will be in a better position to appreciate surprises and you will think more. So, I want you to come prepared so that there can be more discussion and more answer writing. Okay. Any questions? Otherwise, I'll take up some UPSC question and discuss. Any questions you want to ask before I ask you a question?
Sir, how can we take a notes? Sir?
How can we
Take a notes?
take notes?
Yes, sir.
You mean exam point of view? Okay.
Yes, sir.
That is a good question. You can ask me about examination related questions about the methodology. Number one, when you are reading the book, I'm yet to get my print copy. When you are reading the book, you write down notes. How do you write down notes? Number one, write facts and write your understanding. And write it in your own words. That is when you are reading. This is one. Write facts, write your understanding. In your own words is my very important clue. I can tell you what most students do is that they do underlining. So their books will be full of colors, black, blue sketch, yellow sketch, like that. Students do underline. I don't come across a student who doesn't underline. He doesn't read a book like he reads a novel. He underlines. But I want you to do more than underlining. Write down facts in a notebook. Okay. Next, understanding. How is understanding different from facts? Facts is there at one place, whereas understanding is something brief out of many passages. So you have some understanding. Write your understanding in your own words. That's it. And then raise questions. For example, and then make it personal. Personal. For example, she should write in today's class that this is what is proposed, and I didn't like. There, it is said that there is a study, but the study must be wrong. I'll find out why the study is wrong one day. It's like, write your reactions, write your feelings. That is the way to learn in your own words. And let me tell you, the best way to develop writing ability is to write about yourself. You don't want to write in a clumsy way when you want to write about yourself, because you are sure you want to be understood. It's so personal to you. So write about you, yourself, your understanding, your questions. And I want your notes to be full of questions. Some teachers say that I will teach in such a way that I will remove all your doubts. That is the wrong approach. Teacher shouldn't have such an approach, and the student shouldn't. Some questions should be answered, but more questions should be raised. And some questions should not be resolved at all. So this issue of gender is not going to be settled in today's class. Maybe after when you after 20, 25 years also, you will think, no, this is how husband should be. So now you think of how a boyfriend should be, and later husband should be, and then later son should be, and then even after that, grandson. This is never going to leave. Your views will change. And so keep a question in mind and not an answer. And any answer is provisional. Whoever be the one who is answering that question. So when I am saying something, you may agree, but later you may disagree. You may oppose now, and later you may think, yes, there is a point. And if you violently oppose to me, I take it more seriously, in the sense that that if you dislike something so much, it means that I am saying something which is affecting many of your views. When you think, if this point of view, if he is right in this way, then I must be wrong in many places. It means you must be getting the point. It must be going deeper. And when things go deeper, you will relate things. You will understand. So today you raise this issue, is woman psychologically born differently? What is the evidence? Why is this evidence? Is it right, wrong? What is society doing? Like that. That is learning. But then, to this, from exam point of view, we just see who, what is the name, which year, scientist. Because when the examiner is seeing, I want you to follow my videos, he is not going to be impressed by your thought. He will see your thought, no doubt. But he is primarily drawn to the facts, whether you have studied, whether you are an informed person. Whether you are an informed person seems to be a more important criteria rather than whether you are a thinking and original person. So I want every answer to give those informed look, which means you need to memorize those facts. Okay, but all that memorizing becomes easy when you understand things truly and in your own way. Okay, so it's a good question. Facts, understanding in your own words, and writing your notes in your own way, in your own words, is the only way of developing writing ability. Students want to develop writing ability through writing tests. That is not possible. You won't be writing so many tests, you won't be writing so many answers. The best way is to write notes in your own words. So I want to tell you one thing. If you are reading something, you should always have a notebook with you. Now I know you don't read a book without a pen in your hand. In the same way, you don't read without a notebook. You're always writing. And notes need not be final. All notes is provisional. You write the source. And the next time revise. Discard. And by the time you reach the examination, only few pages of notes. So you understand, learn, but that is one track. I want you to pay attention to both the tracks. You understand, learn, debate. This is one track. My classes are primarily based on this. But I also have exams, and I also see whether you are doing it or not. Another track is exam. Exam means whatever you learn today, can I take it to the exam? Not that I found the class interesting, nice. No. Finally, what is it in the class that I will take and I may write in the exam? Exam may be optional or essay or ethics or whatever. But what is it that I finally take? Which means there should be a proper recording system. Reason why some who don't really appear to be really intelligent, who don't articulate and get very good ranks is that they finally carry what they study. So that is why they keep saying that we read very limited, very few books, but we do multiple revisions. That is the secret of their success. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Notes, points, memorize. I am not saying that you should keep all facts at any time on your fingertips. That's not possible. But in a notebook, there should always be a plan of how am I taking this class to the exam. If you don't have that plan, then that class is a waste. And one advantage with online is that I'm finding more and more advantages is that you can always go back in the class and replay if some point is missing. Offline, you don't have an advantage like that. Offline, if you miss something, you miss forever. You can go back, then write. So first of all, material is given in advance. I really didn't say anything extra than what is there in the book. But then what this is generated in a discussion, so it is more lively. So it is like that. So reading, notes making, and then after that, go through the previous questions. See whether you are in a position to answer. Just 1 second. When you are going through the previous questions, after the chapter, you will have some kind of a provisional answer at some quality. But that is not the final answer. As you read more, learn more, the quality of your answer will improve. So you don't have to give best answers now, but keep giving some answers, keep writing. And as you write more, as you learn more, then you will improve. So this is the strategy. Thank you for asking this question. Is this clear? Please keep asking questions on examination, many other things like notes making, any issue.
How can we make it in topic wise or question to answer wise?
Topic wise, see, I myself gave notes. I mean, you can take that IAS anthropology, sociology. So topic wise questions are there. You are saying, how can you make topic wise
Or question to
notes?
yes,
Hmm?
or question to answer.
I mean, you maintain loose notes, and then what the topper says, it's something like, I don't know, not exactly, something like this, and then you keep adding sheets, and then papers, attachments, references. So you get some basic notes, And after that, you keep adding things. It's like that. So cross references.
Okay, sir.
And yeah, you can also maintain one note for all those resources. One note is, you read about one note. One note is one way of managing your entire information system at right place. It is not amounting to your notes, but all the resources can be managed. You can read about one note. Last time we used OneNote for class purpose, but now we are going to use OneNote because this program is much more efficient. Earlier we used OneNote. So OneNote folders, subjects, everything can be, your entire material can be organized in OneNote. So there should be a way of organizing. So you think about your organization, but basically one kind of organization and a way of adding attachments. So for example, one person is saying, you read about gender, something. One article in Hindu came, and don't think you should read it then and there and finish it off. No, there is an article, you just note and put it here, attach. One day you will read. Remember, what is good about this examination is that you should remember them only at the time of the examination. That's one big advantage. So if you can organize, that's enough. There is no surprise test that you have to know everything at any time, at all the times. It's not like that. So it's about organizing, organizing. So organization means deleting certain things and adding certain things. When will you delete? If you learn something new and some good article came and previous articles are of inferior quality, delete. Learning is not accumulation. Learning is transformation. Certain things are discarded, some new things emerge. So finally, you should have a small notes. So my point is, pay attention to how you are organizing the information. Very clear? Remember, I have found one thing. Students should take, it is their journey to the examination. I don't know if you fully understand. It is not that you may go to your best teacher, you may explain everything, but he is not going to write your exam. And he is not going to be perfect. So each teacher will have his own advantages, disadvantages, assets, and liabilities. So just pay attention. What is this? And finally, you make out what is the subject, what is the examination, what is it that I have learned, not learned, what he may have taught, he may not have taught. And then in the context of the total preparation, where do I stand? So you work out. And then finally, you fill the gaps and it is yours. A student may say, what all I learned is just from his class. That may be true. But for him to say, I learned only from that class, he may have had background or writing ability, the way he processed the information, the skill set could be different. It is like that. So a topper or a good student makes it as his journey. And a teacher is just helpful person. Without teacher, you will have to make out resources, you will have to do everything from scratch and do so much. With teacher, so many things are done on your behalf by him in a more elegant way, so that you can fill the remaining gaps. That is the approach you should have. Am I clear? Okay. Because why there is even if there is a good teacher, gap is between the teacher and the student is that student has to work out from his total skill. Whereas the teacher will be doing it from his narrow perspective. If he's teaching one subject, he will think of only one subject. Whereas the student has to write so many things. So student's totality is different from teacher's totality. So student should have his own plan and work out. Finally, how to maximize the total is the issue. So teacher's priorities are not the same as students' priorities, because teacher's total is different from student's total. Okay, but with me, you can discuss the approach also. So this is what it is. And wherever you disagree, you please say this is, I want to work out differently. So one reason why I want you to be very clear about those videos is that I stated very, very emphatically, this is what I think the subject is, this is what I think exam is. So my course is based on that. So if you disagree, you just say, I disagree. And I encourage you do it in your own way. But when you are disagreeing, you be more careful. That's all. It's like that. Please. Any other answer? Any other question? Okay. Take this question now. I'll post it. Take this question. What do you understand by gender? How does it shape male identity? In fact, for the first time, I'm feeling much more, I mean, at ease like in offline. Okay. So it's good. How do you understand? What do you understand by gender, and how does it shape male identity? So what do you understand by gender? Okay. How does it shape male identity? How does it shape male identity? Okay. Is the question clear? What do you understand by gender, and how does it shape male identity? Oh. So this question has two parts. What do you understand by gender, and how does it shape male identity? Okay. Many questions, call for clarity of concept is one. Clarity of concept. After the clarity, I'm giving you one very, very important examination tip. After the clarity, don't try to read more. Read only to get clarity. And after that, examples. And one more thing I want to tell you is that I want you to watch all my videos, not simply your optional. Ethics essay and ethics 2 and essay 3. And then 3 videos on examples, facts, and diagrams. Now I added to the same playlist. IAS mains 12, IAS mains 13, IAS mains 14, like that. 14 videos are there. So I gave the power of examples, facts, and diagrams. They are common. I made them 1 year ago, but I thought they are very important, and so I made them as part of the playlist. Okay, now we have 14 videos, and 15th video is coming from somebody who got 209 in the interview. So in that way, we are covering interview approach also. So go through that. So in that video and examples, I say how some people through the examples write great answers. So this is the thing that has to be done through examples. Clarity. Clarity is not example. It is about gender. You should be very clear about the definition. Identity, clarity. And after that, there is nothing of sociology or anthropology. It's about examples. If you think you should read everything related to this from a book, you will be disappointed. That is not the nature of the exam. So the examples like dress, many other things. Through examples, you handle this. So you just need clarity. Clarity of concepts and examples, cases, and other things. This is the way to do it. Okay. In this book, I mentioned terms. I gave definitions of the terms. And I want you to define it in all critical terms. I don't want any loose writing. Remember, in the exam, you should show in variety of ways you are an informed person. This is much, much more important than you are a thinking person. No. You are informed. This is what is something that is being easily checked and approved. This they are not sure. So you can't loosely write about gender. No, you can't loosely write about sexual uh, dimorphism. You have to define, memorize points, studies. Okay, but by themselves you can't create a great answer. Not great answer. It's you can't write reasonable answer. You only know the terms. Through examples, you weave your answer and make it right. Is it clear? Now I'll tell you what I am going to do. I will give this example. I'm going to explain the method as an assignment. As an assignment through your dashboard, you will receive it as an assignment. And in that assignment, you will have a link. That link is to what is called Padlet. We're going to make use of the Padlet. Okay. In Padlet, follow these instructions. You are going to type the answer and not write. Type. And I want you to start drawing diagrams. And if you are starting here with this, you draw on a paper and attach that paper to the answer. Attach.
So rather than typing, can we just write it and then send the PDF or something?
No, because that is not clear. And we are going to do many things with this. You just wait. So type and attach. Diagrams to attachment. And when you are typing, you just write figure 1, figure 2, like this. Okay. So this is answer to the Padlet, your answer. Now it will come to me. I need to approve. And when I approve, then it enters. Then after that, you can read others' answers also. And you can comment on them. You can rate them. But once you submit yours and I approve, they have given many advantages of Padlet. I thought in terms of how to use it for our purpose. And I think this is the way to. So what is happening is that we are going to collectively produce answers. For example, now we have a test program. In one unit, we identify for first test, say we identified around 20 questions. All the people are going to write 20 answers. They will submit theirs and they will read others. And with if they upload from that PDF using CAM scanner, it is not at all clear. So the actual exam they will write on the actual paper only, but this exercise is through typing, so that everybody can read and I can evaluate more specific comments. So it's collectively reproducing answer, producing a very good answer base. Okay. So you can read others' answers, you can rate, you can pass comments, but after you presented your own answer. So that is how I restrict the entry to the Padlet. So this is what we're going to do. So kind of a discussion, the assignment.
Typing is
Just
a
one
very
So because you're just going to write only 150 words, 120, not more than, you have to type 120 words. No.
So we'll write legitimately.
What is that?
We'll write legibly.
No.
Will, no.
No, because attachment also will make difference. You will write in the end, but now you do this. Finally forming into PDF attachment, it is becoming less clear. Okay, there are many tools with the actual text, editing tools. There are so many other things. Okay. But you can draw diagrams and put it as an attachment. After all, it is not more than 120 words. Okay, and with this you have access to so many of other answers. Okay, So this is what is going to be. So you will have an
Uh,
assignment with just with a link, and then because after writing Padlet, you submitting, and of course I know you submit, then I will be giving marks. So you will have marks and Padlet advantage, and then like a test. So this is what I thought of. Please, is this procedure clear to you? And in the class also we can use Padlet. It is about collectively we will producing certain answers. It is like everybody writing on his own notice board, but he can see what everyone is writing. It is both. He is writing and he can see what everyone is writing, all that organized in a coherent way. That is what Padlet is. So extremely powerful tool. So we are going to make use of that. Okay.
yeah. Sir.
So this is the assignment we will give. Okay. Aram?
Yeah. Sir, for this gender part, you said that we have to refer to that cultural anthropology book. So that will be enough in order to get the content related to exam,
No.
or should we be, because
Yeah,
the
no, no,
thing
no.
is we understood that we need to make notes, but the thing is at this point of time we need like 3 4 sources. One means whatever sources you tell, and from then we can collate and make the notes.
No, no, no,
Like
not
that.
like that. You just do the source, and then some dynamic part I'll be giving certain EPW articles. So this plus EPW articles should do.
Okay,
And
so
any
your
PDFs that I'll be giving. No, you don't do my notes and then others, not like that.
Mhm,
I myself will be mentioning the sources, you stick to them. See, earlier, when
mhm.
my book was not there, I was asking students to do ember and ember. But now I took most of the concepts from ember and ember only, and I gave an example. So more like Indianization. So you read this book, and then after some time there is some dynamic part, and for that dynamic part, I'll be giving some EPW articles, and wherever this is deficient, I'll be giving certain articles. But I also recommended ember and ember. You can use it for reference purpose. Okay, but it is a general instruction that whatever you are reading, you make notes. But what you should read, you should be careful. That's it. It's not that you read something and you make notes from something else. Whatever you are reading, you are making notes, because notes is a better way of reading, and you read only when you want to record, when you should record. Reading without recording doesn't serve any purpose. Okay. So whatever you are reading, you are making notes. But what you are reading, that depends on issue. And ember and ember can be made use of. But dependence on it is hugely reduced because I myself wrote this. This is also recent because this came from last course only. So 15 plus lectures of transcripts of the previous course is put in the book form. So very recent.
Yeah.
So it is up to date, but still it doesn't cover the current happenings. So we need to do some EPW articles. It is like that. So you refer these notes and then you start it. And more importantly, whether your preparation is adequate or not, you have previous questions, see the previous questions and then see if they are covered. So that is the way you should go about it. Okay.
Okay.
So I gave you enough assignments, and next chapter you should read is gender hierarchy, chapter 10. So you please order the book from notionpress.com and use that code top rank